Hello, and welcome back to another episode. I'm going to be 100% honest with you when I tell you this episode was not supposed to be a part of the series, but Instagram got so spicy this week that it has to be a part of the Body Language with Berri series. So today we're going to be talking about why cycle syncing isn't actually working for you. And it fits perfect because we are in the lifestyle integration phase of this little mini series, so it only felt right. But before I do that, I need to give you a quick little update. You guys, I got a contract from the literary agent today about the book, and I die. That's it. That's the update. I have nothing left to say besides I am dying. Like, I can't handle it. I cannot believe it's happening, but I'm so freaking happy and grateful. Nonetheless, let's delve into why cycle syncing isn't working. So, the main reason cycle syncing probably isn't working with you is because cycle syncing is a system and not a strategy. So many of you have voiced to me that you are doing all of the right things, right? You're eating in sync with your cycle, you're working out in sync with your cycle, and yet you're not getting the results that you want to see. And that's because cycle syncing really is a system. A system looks at the overall picture, the cause and the effect of what could be happening and how things could get better. And cycle syncing does work when you have a specific cycle strategy. Okay, a cycle strategy is a tailored approach to achieving a specific goal as it relates to your menstrual cycle and your fertility. Now, with that being said, you have to understand that cycle syncing and a cycle strategy are two different things. You can do all of the right things until you're blue in the face, but if you don't have enough fertility awareness education about what's going on with your body in relation to your hormones and how that is paired with your actual menstrual cycle or fertility, you're going to be walking in circles, basically. You're going to be running around after your own tail. And I've talked to enough of you to know that that's what you're dealing with. Not only this, but once you have the fertility awareness education, you really want to understand practical lifestyle integration habits. So many people are doing all of the right things and they don't know why they're doing it. And then what they're doing doesn't make sense for their lifestyle. Like, listen, I love a hot girl walk, but maybe because of the type of lifestyle I live, a hot girl walk isn't going to actually be efficient for me. Maybe a hot girl walk is a waste of time. Straight up. Right? And I know nobody wants to say that. I know nobody wants to hear that, but let's keep it real. When you are integrating different aspects of cycle syncing to your lifestyle, right? You have to remember that cycle syncing is integrating into your life. You're not integrating into cycle syncing, okay? Just so we're clear. But then from there, once you know the fertility awareness education and you have the lifestyle integration mastered, you begin to optimize. And to optimize it's quite literally the action of making the best or most effective use of an action, of a resource, of a situation. That is where the optimization actually comes in. And I feel like people just aren't talking about this enough. So we're talking about it today. This is why cycle syncing isn't working. It's not working because you don't know what you're doing and why you're doing it and how that applies to you. Cycle syncing isn't working because you're trying to do all of the things that you see the TikTok girlies and the Instagram girlies. And yes, I fall in that category of the TikTok and Instagram girlies. I fall in there, okay? But you're trying to do all the things that we do, and that doesn't make sense for your lifestyle. Right? It's not working because you haven't even figured out what works the best for your lifestyle. Now you're probably like, okay, sis, calm down. I don't need you coming at my edges like that. And I'm done coming for you, okay? I just want to keep it real as to why cycle syncing isn't working for so many of you. Cycle syncing isn't working because it's a system and not a strategy. In order to create the most tailored experience for you, you need to have a cycle strategy. And that's something I do when you book a session with me. We actually target 1 to 2 of your most important goals as it relates to your cycle. Now, with that being said, I want to share with you what I did earlier this week with one of my clients for her one-on-one session. So she booked a cycle strategy session with me. And what we walked through is her mid-cycle bleeding, okay, or spotting, and what the cause of that was related to. We also talked about how to shorten the length of her menstrual cycle without jeopardizing the health of her cycle. So let me give you some context, okay? Those are the 2 goals. But as I began to ask her questions, because of course, like the first 15 minutes we talk, I let you just kind of talk at me. And then the next 15 minutes, I will ask you, what do you want to be doing in the next 6 months? Well, lo and behold, okay, she wants to begin conceiving. Like she wants to try to conceive come January 1. So what we needed to address is the mid-cycle bleeding, which more often than not is due to progesterone levels being higher during ovulation than they actually should be. But also she wanted to target how long her cycle is. So she's on average having like a 42 to 44 day cycle, which is considered abnormal. So because we knew exactly what she wanted to do, which was get rid of the mid-cycle bleeding, have a shorter cycle without jeopardizing the health of her cycle, we then created a tailored experience of lifestyle integration. So when I'm creating these custom situations for you all, like the custom strategies for your cycle, what I really do my best to focus on is making sure that we only do 3 things that are going to integrate into your lifestyle. Anything more than 3 is honestly too much. Anything less than 3 is too lazy. Straight up. It's not even too little, it's just too lazy. Like you're not even like really doing the most, right? So with that being said, for the specific client I had, we created a specific smoothie that was going to support her liver and her kidneys, okay? All while keeping her budget in mind, might I add. We then decided to create a 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off aspect of it so that we could target her second goal of shortening her cycle without jeopardizing the health of her cycle. And if you know anything about like trying to conceive, you understand how important the luteal phase of the cycle actually is. I mean, the entire cycle matters, but especially that luteal phase. So we talked about how we could decrease the progesterone levels during the first half of her cycle to alleviate that bleeding while still maintaining the health of the second half of her cycle in the hopes that it will shorten her cycle, okay, without jeopardizing the health of her body and her cycle. So with that being said, those were 2 things that we did. So first we had the smoothie, then we have the 2 weeks on, the 2 weeks off related thing. The last thing is adding in an adaptogen, ashwagandha specifically, to support her kidney health as well as the liver health. Now, you guys know I love targeting nutrition because I really feel like that's the path of least resistance when it comes to like, utilizing cycle syncing in an integration aspect of things. But I also like to keep it 100 and say that that's not going to work for everybody, right? Some of you just need to go to therapy. Some of you need to take time to like meditate. Others of you need to figure out how to eat better for your body and for your specific cycle goal. So with that being said, we had the fertility awareness education. Okay. So that was like me explaining the why, the what, and the how of what was going on with her body because of the specific issue she wanted to target. Then we created the lifestyle integration. So her 3 habits, the 3 things she needs to do over the next 30 days in order to achieve her specific goals. Then from there, we talked about optimization. Now, the optimization aspect of things is really personal, and sometimes I have enough time on a call to help people optimize things based off of like the acronym PERFECT, which is personal health and well-being, energy and emotions, relationships, finances, environment, career, and time management. Sometimes I have enough time to do that, but other times I don't. In this instance, I could not walk her through the actions that she could take. However, I encouraged her to think about these different areas of her life and like the one thing she knows that she can do to better these areas of her life. And inevitably, that is going to help her achieve her goals. Oftentimes, people don't realize how their lifestyle, like whether it's your environment or your career or your finances, right? How those are actually impacting you hormonally. And so when I was speaking with my client earlier this week, one of the things we learned is, 90 days prior to our session, she had just quit her job. And if you know anything about the egg journey throughout the menstrual cycle, it takes about 90 days for it to develop and to actually mature. Okay? So with that being said, that is actually what we talked about. And she knew post call, hey, if I'm going to really optimize my lifestyle the way that I need to address specific things in these 7 areas of my life. Okay, so I just gave you the 3 elements of a cycle strategy: fertility awareness education, lifestyle integration, and optimization. If you actually follow at Optimize Your Flow on Instagram, you'll notice that there's a heading on pretty much every single post that goes live. It'll say cycle education, and that's just because fertility awareness education is too much to type out. Okay, it'll say lifestyle integration, and it'll say optimization. That is quite literally the heading of Optimize Your Flow. Why? Because it's a little formula for you to follow in order to create your own cycle strategy. Now, naturally, you are not going to have the same goal as somebody else when it comes to their cycle, right? It's personal to you. But what you may want to consider is getting a custom cycle strategy made for you or creating one for yourself. Obviously, I would love to help you create your custom cycle strategy, so you can head to the show notes and book your session in. It's $149. Okay. It's I honestly think it's the best $149 someone can spend on their health, honestly, because you learn so much, but then you actually get a practical plan for implementing things. But I digress. Okay. Or you can just, again, try to figure it out yourself. I'm one of those people where I trade time for money all the time. If I can have my time back and pay somebody to do a thing for me, then I will do that, right? And this is one of those things where if you find yourself not necessarily having the time to figure out what's going on with your period, but you would love to pay somebody to tell you this is what's going on and this is how you can fix it, then the session is for you. But I'm going to get off my high horse now. I feel like you guys understand why cycle syncing isn't working, and that's because cycle syncing is a system and not a strategy. If you've done all the things, cycle syncing is just not helping you get where you need to be with whatever goals you have, then create a cycle strategy. As always, I'm sending you big love and flowy vibes, and I'll talk to you soon.